So welcome. I am Erwin Huerta. I'm the convener of the data schools at CDH in the University of Cambridge. And today we are going to have this Q&A session or information webinar session for the social data school that is going to be taking place in September 2024. I have with me also Dr. Anna Alexander, who is also the Director of Learning and also helps with the organization of the data schools. And I also have Karen Herbain, who is part of the staff team and is also helping us with the organization. So what I have here for today, I hope you can see that on your screens, is the order in which we are going to just touch upon some things for today, giving you general information. I hope that's okay. And then after maybe 30 minutes or so, then we go and respond specific questions. So I'm going to just give a general introduction about what the data schools are, and the social data school in particular, content, then kind of a more detailed description of the curriculum up to the point where we are at the moment. Then visiting Cambridge, then we are going to try and respond to your questions, the Q&A forum, and then we're going to wrap it up. We are recording right now, but we won't be recording when you give us your questions. So that's the order that we are going to proceed at the moment. So just as a brief introduction to the data schools is a project at CDH and University of Cambridge, and we want to democratize access to tools and methods for digital data collection, analysis, and reporting. We love to foster development of ethical practices in digital research. We encourage dialogue between academia and civil society, the public sector, and industry about the social, ethical, and policy implications of the digital research methods. So we are very much interested in making those connections outside university. We provide instruction and knowledge exchange across sectors, professions, and disciplines, just probably insisting on that point. Now, this edition that we're talking about is the Social Data School, and it's an in-person edition in September. We also have an online edition, but the one we're talking about right now is an in-person taking place in September 2024. It's going to be actually the second time that we are going to carry out an in-person social data school. And as a social data school, this is structured around the life cycle of a project, exploring methods. We also touch upon visualizations and data analysis, and with academic researchers, practitioners, and the team of the data school, we create a teaching and learning environment with lectures, digital tools, demonstrations, workshops, group works, and more. It is geared towards social data, so people who are interested in political, sociological questions, data subjects or topics around those issues are welcome to apply to this data school. So it is slightly different from the cultural heritage data school, which is that one will be geared towards cultural heritage, right? This social data school touches, and we're gonna look at it in a moment, touches upon questions of, for instance, social media analysis, or for instance, we're also going to probably talk about it in a minute, about satellite imagery to investigate environmental issues. So that's kind of the difference between schools. And just to say that it's a practical school, so we very much enjoy doing practical things with you, apply to specific problems, and we try to make it also a space in which we can kind of inquire, we can ask critical questions about how we use data for these objectives. As I was saying, we are going to focus this year, although it's not going to be the only subject, but we're going to try and focus on machine learning for investigations on environmental issues. Some of that will have to do with satellite imagery as well. And to that end, we have teamed up with some colleagues at the Pulitzer Center who have been developing cutting-edge technologies to carry out impactful investigations. So more on that in a minute, but that's kind of the new information that we have come up with for this edition of the Data Schools, new content rather. Now, also, just I thought it was going to be important to mention this because in previous Data Schools we've included also as part of the application process that applicants need to come up with a project that they apply with, not for this one. So for this edition, we've not asked applicants to have a project, an ongoing project. It might help if you have one, but it's not necessary. However, you might be asked to work with some specific data sets during the school, and it's going to be very likely that some of that will have to do with what I've just told you, which is the machine learning for investigations and environmental issues. Who should apply? We welcome applicants from all backgrounds. You might be in journalism, marketing, academia, maybe NGOs, activism, trade unions, civil society organizations, the public sector. Anyone is welcome to apply as long as they have some sort of work or project, or they're involved in the inquiry of data, in social data, right? That's why we just put here some examples like journalism or academia or activism or the public sector, right? But anyone is welcome to apply. One thing to mention probably is that we do welcome the application of students, but we will privilege people who are not part of the University of Cambridge or people who are outside the university as well. But there are still some places for some students. Now about the cost. We have standard cost of 750 per person and early birds up to the 21st of April. So it's just a few days till that window of opportunity is there. £695 per person and a concession. So just a few concessions, limited places at 460 per person. Now, a standard person, just so that is clear for everyone, is applicable if you're part of an organization with paid staff, right? However, you are welcome to apply for a concession, one of the limited places of concessions, 4 concessions. If you work for an organization that has a limited number of paid staff or with limited funding, or you're volunteering, that would apply to you, and you can then ask for a concession. Which takes me then to explain what concessions are. We have a limited number of concessionary places for the unemployed, for unfunded projects, for Global South residents that can demonstrate financial need. We know it is a little bit kind of difficult to pinpoint what Global South is, but we generally mean not the Global North. Sorry for the redundancy. Not Western countries, and people who can demonstrate financial need living in those countries or from those countries. And we also have bursaries, so we waive the fee for the bursaries. And now for those who are not able to afford this training, and then they are able to demonstrate and make the case about how the data school will be beneficial for them and their sector, right? So that means that their application for a bursary needs to be very strong and make the case as to why it's going to be beneficial for the people they work for, or the organization they work for, the sector, right? They may be involved in some sort of project that also already has some social impact. So that needs to be said over there. Needs to be then indicated in the application form. The fees, what do they include? 23 hours of effective teaching of sessions, right? Plus access to online teaching resources, spaces for discussions with practitioners and peers. It's an in-person edition and from the previous experiences that we've had with in-person editions, it is very rich to have that contact with academics or researchers or peers. So that's there. We like it a lot. We promote those spaces to happen. Also troubleshooting sessions and catering, but the catering is mainly refreshments in the morning and the afternoon, and just one lunch. And for that, we are going to hand over vouchers to be used in the coffee shops at the university, in the cafes at the university. You need to bring a laptop with you because we are not going to provide any equipment, but we are going to offer Wi-Fi, which is available in the university, and that's what the fee includes. Some important dates. So I'm going to repeat that. We're going to repeat this in a minute at the end of the session, but just so that everyone is aware of that, even from now. Early bird tickets are going to be available only until the 21st of April, so just a few days. The deadline for applications is 16 June 2024, so you still have some time to refine your application and work on it. And the data school is happening between the 9th and the 13th of September 24. Right, for those who are watching this on the screen, then maybe they can use the QR code. And now let me just jump into content. So I am now introducing the teaching team. So you've got there my colleague, Dr. Alexander, who I've introduced before, and she's going to speak in a minute. Dr. Hugo Liao as well. He's going to be teaching social network analysis, a very popular session, very useful, great teacher too. So those are teachers from the university, well, myself as well. I'm going to be teaching methodology for digital investigations and some automation tricks that I can share with you too. And as I said before, we are going to have people from the Pulitzer Center joining us in person for this data school. So one of them is Anton Delgado. I'm sorry about the name there for Gustavo Faleiros, but it's Gustavo Faleiros, who's the Director of Environmental Investigations for the Pulitzer Center. Both of them joining us to talk about machine learning for investigations and environmental issues. In a moment, Anne is going to mention a little bit more about that project that they've been working on, and they're going to share also some of the things that we've been doing with them. But just give me 1 minute so that you have kind of the list of things that we have so far. As I mentioned before, methodology for digital investigations, machine learning for environmental investigations with a focus on satellite imagery, basic automation for investigations, social network analysis, and critical approaches to data visualizations. So you can see that there is a pipeline there for a data project that goes from the collection of data to the analysis and then finally the visualization with, of course, our keynote speakers. I have to say that we are going to announce more content in the coming days and probably also more keynote speakers, but stay tuned. Also to say that apart from the live sessions, you're going to have access to tutorials, resources accessible online. We have a virtual learning environment where participants can just consume, download some of these resources and interact with peers and with teachers too. Subject to change, of course, this content. And now I'm just going to hand over to Anne. She's going to be talking about a description of the curriculum, if I'm not wrong. Anne, over to you.
Great, thank you very much, Irving. So, as Irving mentioned, we structure the content of the data school around the life cycle of a digital project. So one of the things that you'll get out of this is that if you are, if you're interested in learning how to knit together the various skills that you learn into a coherent methodology for working with data, and in particular around this theme, then the experience that you'll get at the school is very much focused on how to help you do that. As you may know, if you already work in this area, it's a highly collaborative process, and it involves people with different sets of skills, different disciplinary backgrounds. I'm going to share my screen and show you a little bit about the project that we've been working with Anton and Gustavo on, and that they will be talking about in the data school, hopefully also with input from some of the other project team members. Let me just share my screen. So the genesis for the project that we are working with is actually a project that has been ongoing for a few years, which is organised by the Pulitzer Center, called Amazon Mining Watch, which is a collaboration between the Pulitzer Center and Earth Genome, which is an organisation that works with data, is particularly focused on developing machine learning models for geospatial data. What Amazon Mining Watch does is that it uses publicly available satellite imagery and creates a map of the Amazon basin, which highlights, as you can see, these little dots on the map are instances where there's likely to be mining taking place. Mining is highly destructive of the forest biomes. Some of this is illegal mining, which is carried out without permits, without proper legal authorization. And how have these mines been detected? It's been using a machine learning model that passes over the satellite imagery based on a training data set which has been developed by the research team and in collaboration with input from journalists, in order to find the footprint, if you like, of a mine. So you can see some of these a little bit more clearly here. On the top here, you've got examples of mines. On the bottom, you have false positives, things that might be identified as mines by the machine learning model because they have some similarities but need to be excluded. So that's one of the processes that goes into the whole development of this project, is identifying the examples of the things that you want to look for and the ones that you want to exclude. In addition to this, if you like, remote sensing approach to trying to understand what is going on across a very geographically remote area, there is also on the ground research that's taking place. And so one of the things that we'll be hearing from Anton, who's a journalist working with the current instance of this project, which is looking at a different area of the world. He's doing work on a project related to Cambodia and gold mining in Cambodia. That the work that he's done is to verify, validate, do the groundwork and the research, the investigations as a person on the ground, as an investigative journalist. So part of what we'll be looking at is how the dialogue between those very different perspectives and viewpoints can then turn into impactful investigations in the public interest. As you can imagine, these questions, the questions that were raised by this go across a huge range of different topics. And so this project will be one where we'll be addressing it in a number of different modules across the school's curriculum. So including at the research design phase, we'll also look at the data collection phase. We'll have elements in the teaching that we do about critical approaches to machine learning, in particular machine vision models, but also the contextualization of the data and the finding of training data examples, which rely on open source investigations methods. And then finally, at the end of the process, we'll also look at methods for visualization of the results. Obviously, one of the ways to visualize the results of this is on a map, like as this example shows, but there are also, one of the parts of the content of the data school will look at more traditional forms of data visualization and methods that you can use in order to tell stories with the data that will have an impact on a wide range of audiences. I'm going to stop sharing there. I hope that's given you a small overview into the approach that we are taking. And the other thing to emphasize is that although Irving has said, as Irving has pointed out, we're not asking participants to come with a project of your own that to work on during the school. It will be a very hands-on event where it's not going to be a set series of lectures only. It will be also demonstrations, practical group work, and encouraging people to really get stuck in with actually working with the data and bringing the different kinds of expertise that you will all have as applicants and participants in the school. I think that covers most of what I wanted to share, but I'm happy to take questions about any more of the elements of the curriculum. Do you want me to go through this, Irving, or is that you?
I think this is you, and it's probably as part of visiting Cambridge.
Do you want to just go? Yeah, if you just go back to that. So, as Irving said, just to emphasize, you need to bring a laptop on which you can install software. And we will help you with the software installation part of it. We will provide technical instructions beforehand. We will be using software packages that are free to use and are commonly quite easily available. We'll also have support on hand to help you with installation issues and so on. But we can't provide any equipment. You've got to bring you'll have to bring your own in terms of the laptop. And the materials related to the teaching how to use the software will be on our virtual learning environment and be accessible to you after. In terms of the logistics of a visit to Cambridge, so again, just to emphasize, this is an intensive in-person event. It's a workshop that goes throughout the whole week. It's taking place within the university buildings on the Sidgwick site of the university. You do need to pay for your own travel and accommodation. There are a number of rooms that you can block book on a limited basis, and those are available first come first served. We'll give you details about that once you're accepted for the school, and you can also look for your own accommodation. In terms of visas, if you need a visa to attend the school as a participant, that's something that you have to take your own. It's at your own cost, and also you have to take responsibility for the actual visa application. However, if you require a letter from us confirming that you are accepted as a participant on the school, then we can happily provide that for you. We would really emphasize that please make sure to leave as much time as possible for a visa application, and be aware that there are often quite long delays. So we would really urge you to get in touch with us as soon as possible if you require a visa, as soon as we've given you the results of the application to the school. I think that's probably everything in terms of, again, the practical side of coming to Cambridge, and just a reminder of the dates. So the early bird applications open until the 21st of April. And the final deadline is the 16th of June.
Yes. Well, thank you, Anne. Yes, I think that's the main information about the Social Data School of September. Finally, just some contact details over there. I mean, apart from this Q&A video and what you can find on the website, you feel free to reach out by email, either to me, Irving, or Karen, who is also right now in this Q&A, and that's the email where you can contact us. And right now we're going to move on to the Q&A forum, responding to the questions if people have it. But yes, we're very excited to receive your applications, and hopefully to try and see what kind of investigations in the public interest you've got with you, and make another another very successful edition of the social data schools.